then to take over the role and take the maternity leave off so she can then go back to work. So there's a lot of conflict as to what's going to happen and who's going to carry, and again, a lot of money has gone into trying to conceive this child. So going back to home life, I feel like if the structure and foundation isn't there, we get distorted views of how we interact with one another. Home is the first foundation of how we learn about communication, how we care for one another, how we, just how we grow up as a participating citizen, as they say, or whatever. So yeah, I feel like with the home, it's been defragmented in so many ways. It's been attacked in so many ways, where I think marriage isn't really seen as something sacred anymore. So people are in and out of relationships. I feel like the whole man and woman structure is not necessarily, like, people are experimenting outside of that. You've got people in relationships with, 3-4 people at a time, and they're all in agreement with that. And like the structure's just been reshaped. It's been reshaped, and because of that, there is a lot of trauma and mental breakdowns and split personalities and stuff, because we're going outside of how we was created, and then trying to recreate our own reality, our own illusion of how we want life to be. And your body physically resists that. You need I was going to go a bit extreme there, but you need a man and a woman basically to have to procreate. And science has now said, well, actually we can do it this way. And there's definitely a backlash. There's definitely a backlash.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. Because you can do things, but it doesn't mean it's going to be mentally healthy for you in the long run. And we can say as much as we want about, I can do this by myself, but all of decisions that are made through trauma are never good decisions. Decisions on things that are done out of trauma and probably not good ideas, because you've that instance where you're talking about the woman that wanted to have a child without a father. Now that child is going to grow up without a father. Who knows what issues that child is going to have due to not having a father. But I don't know how it works through IVF, if they even have the ability to meet who was born, who created them, but or who donated. But she may have a level of trauma that she then can go many different ways. I was saying trauma can, people deal with traumatic experiences differently, not all the same. So another thing to touch on is that some people bottle stuff up. So they're not good at releasing emotions, and they're not good at saying how they feel, especially amongst males, which is a big issue, because males, they don't like to talk. They're taught from an early age, like, if they get smacked or if they do something wrong, don't cry, you're meant to be a man. And that's been inputted into their mind from a young age, and it's like, if I cry, then I'm weak. And if you do cry, you're seen as weak and you're laughed at. And there's this idea of strength is not showing emotion. And we've been seeing that all throughout, and that's why the highest suicide rates are amongst men. But it's because men are taught that being strong is not being emotional. And you're taught that if you cry, you're weak. If you're afraid, you're weak. Like, if you true to what you say, go on. What you
No, sorry. No, it's a really quick one. Just based off of what you're saying, I had a thought the other day. What is being projected in your mind to make you think they're your own thoughts?
Yeah.
So, like you said, when growing up and males are told, boys don't cry and be strong and stuff like that, those are projections from somebody else. Those are someone's words that have imprinted into your subconscious for you to then take it up as your own reality.
Yeah.
And shape how you act and interact with certain situations and circumstances. So again, going back to the ear gates of what you can't control what someone's saying to you at a young age, but as an adult, you can then suss out your circle, know who's around you, know their mentality and their character.
Yeah.
And if it's not conducive to your mind, if it doesn't contribute healthily to your mind and how you then, because like I said from earlier on, your mind tells you what you will do.
Yeah.
So if someone's projecting something into your thoughts and then you're taking them on as your reality and then acting that out, you have to analyse who you're around.
Yeah.
Because not everyone's there to edify you.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely, and it's just obviously the males and females both have their generic traits, but it's just so important. Going back to men again, it's just so important for them to realize this issue, because that you even got another case, a scenario where men that are more open to their emotions is seen as weak or less macho by females or other people. Even though a lot of females say, yeah, that's what they look for, but then when there is usually a man that opens up, they're seen as weak or not as macho, and you have a lot, not all, but you have a lot of girls that chase after men that look like they're strong and they're an alpha male and they're this and that, but really a lot of them are quite insecure, and they put this false persona of confidence so that people can think they're confident, and this mask and this fakeness of. There's so many instances I've heard of men not crying and even being at funerals of their parents and not crying because they're going to be seen as weak, and they don't cry for years and then they just break down all of a sudden, because bottling up emotions is never a good idea. Trying to avoid emotions, it will just, there's going to be one day where it will just release, sometimes in a positive way, most of the time in a negative way. If it's sadness, sometimes it can be just an explosion of sadness and uncontrollable crying. If it's anger, it can be lashing out or doing something terrible, and that's why you see a lot of issues today with violence and even youth violence and stuff, because you have a lot of angry children, a lot of angry kids that they're angry because their father wasn't there, they're angry because they've been treated like a certain way. There's many that's been bullied, they're angry. There's many that have an anger for someone or something, even an anger for what someone's done to their friend, and then it's just a revenge, and then it's just a cycle, and they don't know how to deal with that anger. So they take it out. It's just this thing about macho-ness and all of this stuff. There's a level of being a male that is important, but there's what's most important is to be true to emotions, true to how you feel. And when you're true to how you feel and true to your emotions, then you're able to communicate more effectively. And there's a release, and that's why you were talking about surrounding yourself with people that actually are on communicating with you without judging you.
People that are on, off.
Yeah. People that, because what I found, especially in the male circle, there's a lot of social circles. Not 100% sure about female circles, because to me it seems like they more are open to their emotions with each other. But in male circles, it's very much let's have fun, and then that's where it stands. And then no one's they're barely talking about like I feel so depressed, like I feel so down, like this is what's happening, and I feel like this. It's very rarely like that. It's more we're going out to have a good time. There's no deep talks in terms of how are you actually doing, like how do you actually feel. And I'm not saying that this doesn't happen at all, but it seems to be a rare occurrence, and that's why even the Bible talks about being, if you're around foolish, keeping company with foolish people, you become foolish. But if you're hanging around wise people, you'll become wise. And that's why it's literally so important to remain in that side of things.
So it's going to be a brief one because this is a very broad topic as well, but it just ties into again when we're talking about the mind. So when we say dimension, it's a posture of thought, basically, a paradigm. So just because you have, for instance, a conviction of something doesn't mean you're moving into the realm of that thing. So you can have a conviction, or you can have a belief system that lying is wrong, but still do it.
Yeah.
Which means you have a dimension of revelation that lying is wrong. It means you don't live in the realm of the truth because you find it impossible to lie.
Yeah.
So if I go back, so we said dimension is a posture of thought. So your thoughts are that stealing is wrong. So that's your paradigm that you live in. But sometimes, just because you know stealing is wrong, doesn't mean that you don't steal. So you are not moving in the realm of your truth. Does that make sense so far?
Yeah.
So if you was living in that realm, then it would be impossible for you to lie. So when we look into dimensions, there are actually 7 layers that make a dimension, and then 4 dimensions that take you into the realm. So there's 7 layers of thought before it becomes there's 7 layers of thought, and then there's 4 more dimensions before it's something that holds you there. It's something that you live out. It's something that you dwell in. And even the thought comes from another dimension, and sometimes there's words of things like a revelation. So it's information from a divine source.
Yeah.
#God. Yeah. So we would say, I got a revelation, and then that revelation travels down into the dimension. So it travels down into your posture of thought, and then it becomes it moves you. It kind of grasps you and shifts you into a paradigm. And then you have a conviction of what that revelation's shown you, and then you then move into a realm. You're supposed to move into a realm of living that as your reality.
Yeah.
So if we broke this down in simple terms, so many people have ideas.
Yeah.
Like so many people have business ideas. So many people, come up with a plan.
Yeah.
So that would be their revelation. And then the dimension would be to make idea, like sketch out your draft for your idea and making it happen, shifting you into the paradigm. And then the conviction of, okay, this is a really good idea, I've got my plans written down, I can make this fruitful, that's the word. And then bring it into the realm of existence, manifestation.
Yeah.
So, that's what I just wanted to add. It's a deep one because, again, it's like levels of consciousness as well.
Yeah, this is the end of the Watchman podcast. I hope you enjoy it. Stay tuned for the next one.